A pleasant good morning to everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Coming to you an hour earlier this week. The Coles Brown Show, we are team players, and we have most of our production crew on site. So, Coles Brown Show moves up from 10 a.m. to 12 noon for this Saturday only. Here's the guest menu, Coach Farasi Norman. He'll join us very shortly. What's trending on the Coach Brown Show? Simply this. Southern University football road travels continue. They're in the great state of Alabama, visiting Alabama A&M in Huntsville/Normal, Alabama. It is an important game, a must-win for some in the Jaguar Nation, but it is an important game as we now head toward the end of the regular season. Speaking of season, basketball season is right around the corner. You won't see most of your teams play at home early on. They'll be, of course, traveling across this great country. We'll get to see some of them, at least by mid-December. And we didn't get a chance last week to kind of talk about it, but the SWAC 2025 baseball tournament on the move to Birmingham, Alabama. That's what's trending on the Coles Brown Show. A new month, November. Please, as always, I'm saying it early, go out and vote if you haven't already, coming up this week. Now, we introduce the panel one by one as they make their way in. And I can tell you now, it's going to be one of those days. I've got a feeling they're going to try to calm me down about last week's ball game. Oh, Charles Edmond meets us here. Coach Norman, Willer Brown, we call him affectionately A.D. Willer Brown, and the Coach Vann Pettaway. Good morning and good afternoon, guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I'm going to say now, I'm going to be in a feisty mood today because I got a feeling I'm going to be teamed. I'm going to be triple, quadruple team to tell me I should hold on, calm down because of last week's ball game, Southern University and FAMU. I will see if they can calm me down, but let's get started. Last week, Southern University loses to FAMU 24-6. I did humbly predict 24-20 of FAMU to win the ball game. And I have a little note here. What we found out. And what I found out that this team offensively, you never know what you're going to get week in and week out. Consistently inconsistent. Coach Graves calls it growing pains. Okay, I can live with that. Growing pains. But offensively, we found out that just inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't want to criticize one player, so I will just put it this way. Offensively, there is challenges for this Southern University football team. Panel, yeah, go Jags. Yeah, I'm still go Jags. But we also found out that against the Jackson States and the FAMU, Southern University is just not quite there on a consistent basis. So maybe average, maybe a little bit above average. Some would say maybe a little bit below average. I don't have the blue and gold glasses on that I can't see it. I see that this team has still some work to do. And in spite of all of that, there's still Coach Pettaway and Willa Brown and Coach Norman and Charles. They still can win the wacky Western Division. I'll stop right there. Your comments.
Get off the ledge.
Right.
Come back in the room.
Wait a minute. I'm not on the ledge.
It's okay. It's okay. Get off the ledge, Carlos. Get off the ledge. It's okay. It's all right. It'll be all right.
Will, it's too early for the Jag Nation to panic. It's still they still hold their own destiny. It's too early to panic right now. So all they got to do is be focused for the rest of the season, and they'll be okay.
I agree. They got to find out what's going on offensively. Gotta find an answer in there somewhere. If it means simplifying things or what have you, then this is the time that you got to do that. But to be in a position where they are right now, and they're still in it. So I mean, it's not like that game knocked them completely out, that sort of thing. But granted, if there's some issues there, there's some problems there. You got to be about the business of trying to rectify it, if at all possible. It starts with your coaching staff. We don't ever want to get into a position where we're blaming the kids for this, that, and the other.
Right.
It starts with the staff, and they got to search within. And I know Coach Graves will get to the bottom of it, and you guys will be okay.
Right, because going into the season, we thought that the offense would be one of the strong points for Southern. I mean, I thought they had the right people in place. 8 games into the season, you can't say that they haven't meshed yet. They have meshed. You just gotta find out what works well for you, stick with that, and go on. That's all they got to do for the rest of the way.
It is, Coach Norman, it is what it is. In 8 games so far, if it was the beginning of the season, one thing, I understand growing pains. You have to be able to get things done. Now you're at a point now, every game is critical, and you're not good enough to take anybody lightly. It's win the week, Coach Norman.
What we say, Carlos, all games matter.
Yeah.
What I know about Southern right now, off the top of my head, shout out to Coach Graves and his staff. They're doing a good job. They really are. I'm impressed with them. They got a big offensive line. Everyone knows I'm an O-line guy. I like big offensive linemen. They got fast receivers. We found out last week. A couple of my friends called me, and they were like, Coach, you watching the game? I think I was watching something else, but I was able to see some clips. But they said, man, 3 times they had receivers wide open like Walmart, and the quarterback couldn't hit them. And I'm like, huh? They say open 3 times. So we know they can run the ball. And like I said, we had week 8. So what they got to do, they got to find someone who can get them boys the ball that's wide open if they talk about trying to finish up strong. We know they got 2 good athletic quarterbacks. I like athletic quarterbacks, but you still got to be able to hit the deep ball. You can't just have guys running downfield and you overthrowing them or underthrowing them. You got to work on that in practice. That's coaching right there. And then you got to find someone who can connect with those guys. So I got no problem with Southern right now. I think they're doing a good job, but you got to find a way to get those open receivers the ball to finish what you're trying to do, which is win your division.
And
it is called quarterback play. We're having the same issues here. Quarterback play. You got enough out of your quarterbacks 2 weeks ago against Alcorn to win the game, to manage the game. It was not the case against FAMU. We kind of called the score 24-21. I think I had 24-23 or 24-21. I think we had the scores about right. But we assumed that Southern University would find some continuity offensively. They can run the football. There's no doubt about that. But what are you going to get from T-Set and Bowden? And you saw that. Just like here, even though we've got Xavier Vaughn trying to hit the deep ball, we can run the football. But we've got to find a quarterback that can push the ball down the field. I think Southern University is kind of in that same boat. And until those problems get solved, it's going to be a challenge when teams stack the box on you and you can't be as effective running the football. We're going to have that case today at 4 o'clock against Alabama State. They're nasty defensively. And I think they're going to try to take our running game away and make Xavier Vaughn, even though that's been a point of contention amongst Braves fans that we should go with another quarterback. Said Thomas pretty much said this week, Xavier Vaughn will be rolled out there at 4 o'clock today. Probably some different packages to try to make him more effective, more checkdowns and things like that. So without a serviceable and productive quarterback, it doesn't matter whether you're at Southern University, Alcorn, or the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be hard to win on a consistent basis. So Southern's got the same issues, quarterback play. And until they get better quarterback play, it's going to be tough for them each and every week. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be frustrating unless they can run the football with reckless abandon. And unless they can do that, it's going to be a grind going down the stretch.
I don't agree.
And I still say, Carlos, it's going to come down to your coordinator. I mean, these are the kids. It's the hand you dealt. You were dealt this hand back in August or whenever. You were dealt this hand throughout spring ball, that sort of thing. So, you know, they know what these kids are capable of, and so it's got to be up to them to make the adjustments necessary in order to put the kids in position to be successful. You know, and that's got to be on them. They know these kids got limitations or whatever that may be. You know, but they got to find a way to work through it. And, you know, you can't find anybody else to get it done right now. It is what it is. You have what
Mm-hmm.
you have. You know, so you're either gonna roll over, you know, or you're gonna find a way to get it done. And you know, those coordinators, if they like their jobs and like what they're doing, you know, in my mind, they need to be finding a way to try to get it done. You know, so I know Coach Graves is on top of it. You know, I'm rooting for him. You know, and you know, hopefully they find a way to turn the thing around.
Well, you know, VW says in the chat room, in spite of, and I'm paraphrasing, the quarterback play, 14-6 in the fourth quarter. But I think that's the frustrating thing you've seen from week one now to week 8. And then what it does, if and again, if and what FAMU did, you're gonna see Alabama A&M do it today. You're gonna see Bethune-Cookman do it. You're gonna see Grambling State do it. They're going to stack the box, and they're going to say, "We will live. Can you beat us on the football?" You know, and a quarterback is a game manager, so it's I guess it's more frustrating, and it also the defense gets tired. You know, if you're 3 and out, you're 3 and out, you're 3 and out. Then you know you get a little bit of consistency going, and then it's a turnover or it's a fourth down. It's just really frustrating. And so, yeah, it's ultimately goes back to the staff. And I'm still behind them. I'm a member of the Jaguar Nation, but it's just it's just frustrating. And you know you got to look squarely and say if you kind of look at the McNeese game as far as scoring points, you look at the Jackson State, that was a high scoring a game against those type of teams. 6 points against FAMU. Nickel State 7. Those teams with the better defenses. You really, really see the offensive struggles. And, you know, maybe they can address some of it in the big picture after the season is over with. But now we're still deep into a regular season. Can you make adjustments? They're going to have to pass. They're going to have to consistently be able to in the passing game. They're going to have to get it done, Charles.
Yeah. And look, I mean, I sent a text to everybody early in the week, and I was thinking about the quarterback position. You know, when you talk about SWAC football in the past, in history, you can go back to the Steve McNairs and the Doug Williams and the Aquio Glasses. This is not the year of the quarterback in the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
No.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about SWAC football teams, you start with the quarterback, right? But with this year, it's not been the case. You know, the two quarterbacks coming in after media day was Crowley of Grambling, and then you talked about potentially Tyler Macon of Alcorn. Well, Crowley is struggling. Mickey Joseph's kind of pulling his hair out. You know, he doesn't have any in terms of what his quarterback situation looks like there. You know, for us, Tyler Macon started the season, and now you've got Xavier Vaughn, who's had trouble pushing the ball down the field. But you look at Jackson State and the quarterback situation that they have seems to be pretty stable.
Solid play.
And you look at Alabama State, they just found a freshman quarterback who is their fifth quarterback, who was recruited as a wide receiver. He was recruited as a wide receiver, but played quarterback in high school. And look at what Key is doing. We're going to see him on display today. 81 points the last 2 games. The previous 4, they only had 82 points. So he's putting up some points, and they found a little something. But when you talk about the quarterback position, you know, it's a struggle this year in the Southwestern Athletic Conference as far as that position is concerned. You don't have that McNair type. You don't have that Ladarius Skelton type. You don't have that Bubba McDaniel type. You don't have that John Gibbs type. We're trying to find a quarterback, and we talked about at the beginning of the season. It was going to be a struggle to get continuity offensively because you got new coordinators, new coaches, new quarterbacks. How long is it going to take for it all to come together? Well, here we are 8 weeks in, and we're still scratching our heads. And that means your defense is going to have to stand tall, which Southern's defense is good, no doubt. Our defense is good, no doubt. Alabama State's defense is really good, no doubt. But this is not the year of quarterback. And I think right now, if you're struggling, you got to piece it together as best as you can to try to get you to where you need to go. It's not going to be pretty for Southern. It's not going to be pretty for Alcorn either, even though Xavier Vaughns had 2 100-yard rushing outings, but 76 yards passing 2 weeks ago against Southern, that's not going to get it done. And I saw another game. I don't know if it was the Southern FAMU game. I don't know how many yards you all had passing 2 weeks ago.
83.
That's not going to get it done. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Pee-wee, high school, JV, NFL, SWAC. It ain't going to get it done with 83 yards, 76 yards passing. It's not going to happen. So somebody's got to figure something out. As Wheeler Brown said, coaches are working at it, but, you know, unless you see a Dan Marino coming through that door, you're going to have to figure out a way to run the football, ground and pound, avoid turnovers, manage the clock. And I think Southern can do that. I think we can do that. But right now, I mean, I might be wrong about this, but I've seen a lot of quarterbacks, as you guys have seen. This is not the year of the quarterback in the SWAC, and you got to find.
And Charles, it's just not SWAC. It's just not a SWAC problem. You know, it's an HBCU issue all the way around. When you look at HBCU football right now, ain't nobody really burning it up in the air. You know, I mean, you got some serviceable guys like the boy at Johnson C. Smith. You know, the boy at South Carolina State. He's fairly decent. I think he came over with Barry from Benedict. And you know, so you only got a few that I would say that you could move into that upper echelon, so to speak. Nobody HBCU-wise is really burning it up in the air. And that's why I said that, you know, these coordinators have to find a way, you know, to make it work, you know, with what they have to work with, you know, and with the young man at Southern, you know, they got to simplify the playbook. You know, obviously he don't have the deep arm, that sort of thing. You know, they got to go with the 10, 15-yard pass patterns, that sort of thing. They got to keep it simple. Got to keep it simple, 1 or 2 reads, get the ball out your hand, you know, let's get up, let's line up, let's get it some more, that sort of thing. Sooner or later, it's going to open up, that run game is going to open back up, you know, and you're going to be able to get it down the field, you know. So we just, you know, we know the issues, as you stated, Charles, you know, we know the issues. We just got to try to find a way to work around it. We know how people are going to come at us. You know, so ain't no secrets there at all. You know, we know they're gonna put 8 in the box. So what do we do to adjust? You know, from an offensive point of view. You know, do we try to force it down their throat, or you know, we got to come up with something.
How about throwing on first down a little bit more? How about a little rollout? But I will say this: the 2 teams that I have, the top 2 teams in the conference, they've gotten good quarterback play, solid. I don't need a superstar at quarterback. Mm-hmm. Coach Norman and Coach Pettaway is like equivalent to the point guard in basketball. Just manage the game. Don't hurt the game. Make the throws when you have people open. Get it to them. Sometimes you just got to stand in there and deliver the ball. And you're going to take a hit. That's the nature of the game. It's a collision sport. It's a physical sport. Get in there and make the read. And if not, get somebody else in there. But guess what? On first down, Coach Pettaway, I would like to see them. I kind of charted it. 97%, and I'm being nice. On first down, it's run up the middle. It's run up the middle. Look, there's no element of surprise. No imagination. Come on, we know the strengths of our quarterback room. Let's evolve something to help them out.
Carlos.
Wait a minute. Will, I want to hear from Coach Pettaway.
No. Carlos, I was going to say, you all are still in first place, despite everything you've just said. You still have an opportunity to reach all your goals. You all are still there. I'm the one on the hot seat. I'm sitting here wondering, what team am I going to see at A&M today? What team is going to show up in the first half? Is it going to be the team that was against Austin Peay? Is it going to be against Jackson State? Is it going to be against the defense? Is it going to be like what I saw against Alabama State, where they just come out and gash us, and then in the second half we try to make a run? You all are in a great position, man. I just think Jag Nation has to be patient. Give those kids an opportunity. Your coaches are making adjustments. You've only lost one conference game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think it's too early. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Coach. Go ahead.
No, sir. Thank you. Real quickly, I want to just say something to the panel. I'm kind of confused here. Got a couple things I want to throw out there real quickly. One, are we saying there's no good play at the quarterback, or there's no one that's comparable to a Doug Williams or a Jay Walker or Steve McNair? Are we saying that there's just that we just don't have that guy this year? Because honestly, with 20 plus years of coaching, I've seen some good play. Xavier Langford is one. He's a difference maker. Jacoby Morgan at JSU, he's a difference maker. Daniel Richardson at FAMU, he's a difference maker. The kid at Clark Atlanta. Now, let me say this. I would never, ever recruit a 5'9" quarterback unless I'm just running triple option. And I don't run triple option. I grew up an option quarterback, but I'm a spread option guy, so you got to at least be 6 feet. So, but that kid's got a golden arm. The kid that I really would recruit, and I let everybody know this now, if I'm blessed to get a team, the kid at Arkansas Pine Bluff, I'm going to have 2 or 3 of those kind of kids. Like you just said, Carlo, you don't have to win the game, just don't lose the game, and that's what I tell my guys. But I look for an athlete. But fellas, I've seen some good play from quarterbacks. Once again, Southern, you're doing well. You just got to find a guy who can hit the open man. That's all you got to do. So I don't know if it's those two, or maybe it's a redshirt freshman there, and you got to give that guy a shot. But you got to do something if you're going to try to finish up strong. But I've seen some good play. Now, to put those guys in those upper echelon categories, once again, those guys are, they are who they are and everything like that. But I've seen some good play from quarterbacks this year. Once again, the quarterback that I really like, the guy from Pine Bluff, only because I run that style of an offense. I need that kind of an athletic quarterback. But like I say, the guys I just mentioned, I think they're well. For example, FAMU has only scored one maybe rushing touchdown. Everything else has come from David Richardson's arm. Clark Atlanta has only scored maybe 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns. Everything's come from I can't think of his quarterback name, but the 5'9" kid is what I call him. So I've seen some good play. Now, are they upper echelons? I don't know if I put him in that category, but I know this. Xavier Langford, when he's out the game, Alabama A&M, they're struggling. When he's in the game, they're flowing like water downhill. So I've seen some good play. I just don't know if we can just put that jacket on somebody like, hey, there's our guy, everything like that. But I've seen some good play from some guys this year. Really, I have.
And I don't think we're saying that there's not any good play. I don't think that's what's being said. But, Charles put some names out there that were upper echelon type guys. And, I don't see the upper echelon type guy, but I do see some more than serviceable guys. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, sir.
And there's some kids out there that you can win with, that sort of thing. And I think you're seeing on the teams that you have just mentioned, you're seeing coordinators that are really tailoring to, what those kids do, that sort of thing. Yes, I know the kid from Clark Atlanta, he transferred in from Allen. So he pretty much came in with the coach. And, you got some familiarity there, and he was the kid that was, lighting it up at Allen. So it's not a thing of, kids not being serviceable. I just think that, when you talk about that upper echelon kid, that Charles was talking about, I don't see that aspect at the HBCU level. But there's more than a lot of serviceable kids out there. And I think you got a lot of coordinators that are doing a pretty decent job mixing and matching with what they have. But back to what I was saying, Carlos, if you throw the ball on first down and it's incomplete, what are you going to do on second down?
Right. You didn't put them behind the sticks.
You're going to throw it again. And so, you become predictable pretty much by trying to become unpredictable. But like you said, you got to find a way somehow to mix and match and get it done. Maybe you try the 8-yard out or something on first down, something to move the chains a little bit, or move the line of scrimmage a little bit, and then you kind of loosen some things up and kind of keep it going from there.
Right. And
Well, let
see,
me
to me, football is football. Okay, like prime example, the other night, the South Carolina State, North Carolina Central game. You got 14 kids that transferred from Benedict, and 7 of them are starters in the MEAC, and they're in first place. Quarterback comes in. The quarterback comes in. He was part of that offense last year. He got South Carolina State slinging that thing all over the place, man. They look good. But I think the big key with that, they believe in that kid, and they don't give up on him when he has a bad throw. He threw an interception. You know what they did? Next time he got on the field, they allowed him to throw it again. They believe in him. And see, I think sometimes we give up on our kids too early, man. We say, hey, we need the next guy in there. They didn't do that at South Carolina State. They stayed with that kid because they believe in him, and they were able to still win that ball game against North Carolina Central. There's some good quarterbacks out there. The coaches are working hard. You just got to believe in your kids and you got to stay with them.
Well, let me clarify what I was saying about the quarterback situation. All right, here we are 8 weeks in, and the only quarterbacks we're talking about are the ones that are near the top. We're talking about Richardson at FAMU, Morgan at Jackson State, and now you got Key that's led Alabama State with 2 wins in a row. In years past, week in and week out, if you just go back the last 5 or 6 years, when we had John Gibbs and Lenore's Footman and Noah Johnson, it started and stopped with that individual at that position. Here we are 4 weeks left in the regular season. We're talking about Southern's defense. We're talking about Alcorn's defense. We're talking about Southern's running game first. We're talking about Alcorn's running game first. We're not necessarily talking about the quarterback position, but we're holding our breath, hoping that the quarterback position doesn't lose the game for us instead of putting it on the shoulders of whoever quarterback that we had in the past or Southern had in the past or Alabama A&M had in the past. Is it going to be Aqeel Glass? Is it going to be Steve McNair? Is it going to be, Bubba McDaniel? Is it going to be Skelton? Is it going to be whomever at the quarterback position? All I'm saying is that this year, when you're talking about SWAC football, you don't necessarily start with the quarterback. In years past, we've always talked about that. But this year, it's not the case with the exception of 2 or 3 examples. And so I'm just saying this year, 2024, it's not the year of the quarterback. Now, 2025 might be a whole different story. But right now, it's about the running game. It's about the defense. It's about special teams not losing it for you. And it's about making sure the quarterback, whomever you put out there, doesn't lose the game for you. Southern controls the division. No doubt about that. But, Southern's got a tough one with A&M, and I'm with Coach Pettaway. I don't know what A&M team's going to show up. Quite frankly, in my opinion, I think A&M's probably mailed it in. You lose the Magic City. You've lost it 3 years in a row. That's the game, Coach Pettaway. I'm sure Bulldog fans going to be talking about it the next 3 years. Yep. But you got a big game coming up here, and I don't know what Maynard's situation is. I have a bad feeling. I hope I'm wrong, but Dr. Bryan is looking to make a splash. And you lose 3 Magic Cities in a row, and you just can't get it going. You're down 27-3 last week. You wake up in the third quarter, make a game of it. I mean, come on. I mean, I wasn't expecting that at all. I wasn't expecting 27-3 in the third quarter, but that's what happened. So I know some people are on Maynard pretty good, and I think Wheeler Brown talked about it last week. But as far as the quarterback position, I just think, and we've covered this SWAC conference for a long time. This just is not the year, in my opinion. At least right now, this is not the year of the quarterback. It's about the year of the running game, the defense, and just trying to find a quarterback that don't lose the game for you.
Well, Charles, buddy, what you just said is football. If you go back to the beginning of time, this game was built on a running game and defense and special teams. It's just lately within the last 12, 15 years that the quarterback has really become relevant. And I say that because now, you had the spread, and now you got the air raid, and now you got people have come up with a thing called the air spread. I mean, everyone's chunking it. So now you're right. Everyone's talking about who's your quarterback. But, you said it 2 or 3 times in this last statement. The running game and defense is how the game was, started. And honestly, I'm still old school. If I'm blessed, like I say, I keep saying that. But if you come to my game, you're going to see some good hard running, physical calves. You're going to see some big offensive linemen. Now you're going to see some throws. You're going to see some swings, some comebacks, some deep fades, some screens. I know a couple weeks ago somebody said they laughed at a bubble screen. Hey, I still run the bubble screen. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I tell my kids real quick when I walk into the room, we're a running team. I don't change my spots. If we got 60 plays, 40 of them going to be on the ground. If that's not good enough for you, check out, because we're going to win some games running. We're going to be physical. But, you know, once again, like I say, the quarterback has just really become relevant within the last 10, 12. Yeah, we got Joe Montana. We got John Elway, Jim Kelly. We got Doug Williams. You know, we got Randall Cunningham. Those guys, they're upper echelons. But, you know, Steve McNair, he's part of that group there. But let's be real about it. This game was built on running the ball. This game was built on running the ball. And honestly, I get kind of hurt when I see somebody 50, 60 pass the game in the ground. I'm like, you know, I mean, where are we going? I mean, they're erasing the running back. You see it even at the NFL. One thing I've noticed in the NFL, not to change subject, but so far you've had about 6 100-yard rushes in a row. And I'm like, whoa, because we didn't see that in a while in the NFL. You know, it was just all about the pass game. So I think little by little it's starting to come back. But let's keep this game with what it is. You know, like basketball, dribble, back forth, pass, layup. Nowadays, you know, you got the running gun, you got the hot fly slammer jammer, and you know everybody wants to be an individual. Everybody wants to score 40, 50 points a game. Let's get back to the basics. I'm a basic type guy, but we just practice over and over. Ain't really much about what I'm doing. I'm gonna beat you because I don't get no sleep. I work hard at what I do. But you know, not to change something out about Farasi Norman, but I just want to say, you know, I understand what you're saying about those quarterbacks, but this game was built on running the ball and good defense, and I think we all smart enough to know that. Some teams are running the ball, some teams get good quarterbacks, but I agree with you. We don't have that upper echelons guy. We don't have that guy we can just say, there's our guy. But there's some good play out there from quarterbacks that I've seen, and I want to give a shout out to the kid from Clark, Atlanta. To be 5'9" and do what he's doing, that's incredible. Jacoby Morgan, he's impressed me. And once again, Xavier Langford. I mean, whenever he comes into the game, I mean, right. you just see something positive coming in. I don't know what Alabama A&M is going to do. You know, I know this. I think we all know this. Connor Mann is a future Hall of Famer. So whatever happens up there in Huntsville and Normal, we know this. He'll coach again. You know, and we do know, 5, 7 years from now, he'll be inducted to the Black College Hall of Fame because he's that good and he deserves that kind of credit.
Right. Yeah, I like Xavier because he's a dual threat. He can run it, he can pass it.
Yes, sir.
And you're right. When Brown's in the game, everybody knows he's just going to drop back. He's a drop back passer. Yes, but when Xavier's in the game, it keeps you off balance. And so I'm hoping that's the Xavier we'll see at the beginning of the game. And I'm hoping that our defense won't get shredded in the first half. In the games that they have just gotten their butts beat is because the defense has been shredded in the first half. So I'm hoping that this is the game that Southern decides that they're just going to keep pounding the ball, because the teams that have passed against Alabama A&M, they've shredded them. Carlos, turn your mic on. Carlos.
We can't hear your mic, Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos can't hear your mic. But I still think that it just like you were saying, Charles, if we could just come out, get off to a good start, I think we can stay with Southern. But if Southern comes out gassing us, man, we're not gonna have enough to come back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
sir.
Yes, you do.
Okay, I'm going back to that, and then we'll get a break. I believe in balance. I've always, and I'm not offensive coordinator, of course, but if I was, I believe in that. Yeah, you got to be able to run the football. But back to my point, and I think Edwin in the chat room maybe slightly disagreed with me. And I chart the plays on first down. They do run the ball 90% of the time. Now, I think back to Willer. Willer said, well, one of you throw a pass and it's incomplete. So it's 2nd and 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of you run the football and you get 1 yard. It's still 2nd and 9. So I understand down and distance. All I'm saying is I know they're going to do what they feel that they're going to have most success in. I'm just saying every once in a while, shock the defense and come out and throw a nice design pass, and it doesn't have to be a streak down the field 80 yards. What about slants? What about curl-ins? What about rolling out, back out? And what I liked about what FAMU did last week, because Southern's defense is so aggressive, which we like, back out, involve the tight end, some curl-ins. That's all I'm saying. We'll see. And to you, Coach Pettaway, address, I hope Southern University is able to run the football and get back up to the standard what they have in rushing the football. Because, once again, if it's 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, and they've kind of stopped them on that first down, then I think Southern, from what I've seen so far, they are limited when they're getting down in distance. Now, the quarterback play, they might come out and shock us today at 2 p.m. and come out and have success throwing the football and running the football. That will be a good thing. Yes, it will. But you're looking at those stats, Alabama A&M in the tops offensively, and then also Southern University's defense, 2nd in the conference behind Alabama State. So, Southern's defense versus Alabama A&M's offense is going to set the tone early on. We'll take a break after that. Got that off my chest. Charles, Coach Norman, Willa Brown, and Coach Pettaway. It is going to be an interesting show. We'll take a timeout when we come back. It'll be more of the Coles Brown Show and the panel right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Hey, grab me one too.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry. Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it. Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
to this week's edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Coles Brown, with the panel, Coach Vann Pettaway, Willa Brown, and Coach Norman. Net yards rushing last week for Southern University, 122. FAMU, 126. Net yards passing for Southern University, 83. FAMU, 278. Total offensive yards for the Jaguars, 205 yards on 63 plays. FAMU, 404 yards on 62 plays. FAMU averaged per play 6.5 yards. Willer, I'll take that every doggone time. That's really good. For Southern University, 3.3. Time of possession, FAMU 33 minutes and 14 seconds. Southern University 26 minutes and 46 seconds. 2 of 16 on third down for Southern University, 7 of 13 for FAMU. FAMU was a better team last Saturday night, 24-6 over Southern University. Now, as I peeped in the chat room during the break, what is this? EA says, good morning, Carlos. Just finished a committee meeting. FAMU has officially named Southern University a permanent homecoming opponent for the next 10 years. And in 10 years, that means 5 years coming to Bragg, Tallahassee. EA, is this a November fool joke, or is it true? And if that's true, that's smart, Willa Brown. That is darn smart, because we know FAMU is their permanent opponent. You know, we talked about last week about homecoming, 100,000 people on campus. Just, it's a good problem to have. So, EA, is that true? And if that's true, wow. All I'm going to say is wow, Willa.
That's true, Carlos.
You don't think?
I don't think that's true, Carlos.
No. Okay.
Because why would I want Southern as my homecoming opponent? Because in essence, you know, if I got them for that other game, then I'm making money twice in that year. So I don't want a big draw like Southern to be my homecoming game.
Not at all.
Yeah, no, that's not serving me well financially.
But you know, Wheeler, a lot of the fans and Coach Norman and Coach Pettaway, they feel slighted when you happen to be the homecoming opponent, and I just don't understand. It's a conference game. I know, Charles.
You're just at the mercy of the schedule. You're at the mercy of the schedule maker.
That's exactly correct.
And the SWAC.
Ain't nothing else you can do about that. So it is what it is. I mean, we kind of use it as a disrespectful type manner in order to like fire the kids up and things of that nature. But anybody that somebody knows that I just didn't look at the schedule and say, I'm putting Southern as my homecoming opponent. What fool does that?
Yeah.
Real quickly, fellas. Mr. Brown, you've been an AD at the highest level. Who makes the schedule? Is that the commissioner or is that the athletic director?
Well, the conference schedule is made by the conference.
Right.
So what you try to do from an administrative point of view on campus, you look and see what's conducive in terms of a homecoming date, and whoever lands on that date, that's who it is. You know, I mean, you pretty much know in advance pretty much what that date is going to be, but the conference schedule is the conference schedule. And if it's going to happen during the conference season, then whomever lies on that date, that's who you're going to have to play.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a toss-up because in our case here at Huntsville, we got to make sure that we don't put homecoming too close to the Magic City Classic, because you're looking for both of these games, your homecoming and Magic City Classic, you got people coming from out of town. And so you're looking at their pocketbook. You don't want to put a strain on them where it'll hurt your homecoming crowd or your Magic City Classic crowd. And so when the conference spits out that schedule, sometimes you get caught like that. Like the year we had Jackson State for homecoming. Who wants Jackson State in your place for homecoming? And then Prime came in there and put that beat down on them. So a lot of times the unlucky draw of the conference will give you one of those tough opponents. Because when I was in that seat, Wheeler, I would play the School of the Blind for homecoming because I knew I'm going to get a crowd anyway.
Yeah, if you could,
our better opponents, people that we knew would draw, you didn't schedule them for homecoming so that you get more than one payday. You get more than one payday.
If it was somebody that, you know, I had a good relationship with, you know, and you have some other schools that be willing to work with you, sometimes you can miss and match and, you know, move some things around, that sort of thing, in order to make it more conducive, you know, for you. But, you know, when I was at A&T, you know, they got that furniture mart out of High Point, that sort of thing. You know, when they have that furniture mart, you can't get a hotel room within 50 miles of Greensboro. You know, so you have to make sure that, you know, your homecoming doesn't lie on that date, that sort of thing. And, you know, sometimes you have to wind up buying out an opponent, you know, in order to be able to get the date that you want. You know, maybe you come to me 2 years in a row and I come to you 2 years in a row, you know, that sort of thing and stuff. So, I mean, you got to try to find a way to make it happen.
You're at the mercy of the master schedule.
That's it. That's it.
You have a 10-year, Farasi, there's a 10-year SWAC master schedule that was made 5 years ago. I think we're halfway through it. And so you know who you're playing in conference and when. And so you have to look at your homecoming when you have your homecoming typically. And I can speak for Alcorn that we normally have our homecoming the second or third week in October. Now this year it was the first week, but that's because if you look at our schedule, we had 2 road games, Southern Grambling, a bye week, and then that took us into November. Now we could have our homecoming in November, and I think as Wheeler talked about and others, do you want to have your homecoming in November and then 2 or 3 weeks later your big rivalry game, Jackson State at home? Right. That strains the pocketbooks of fans. Yep. So it's a very delicate balance. But I think the whole homecoming thing is overblown anyway. Because is it about the opponent or is it about the dates? You know, I think sometimes we get, you know, I know people get all ticked off when you got so-and-so for homecoming, but it's about, if it's a conference game, it's about the dates. The dates are already set for the next 2 or 3 years. I can tell you right now, Alcorn is going to be playing most likely Lincoln University of California for our homecoming next year. I've seen our schedule. It's going to be the first week in October again. But the conference schedule is already set, and you know, I've seen our conference schedule. It's going to be different, Carlos. It's going to be interesting in 2025. I'll just say that. It's going to be different in terms of when we play these teams, what we're normally playing, when we normally play them. It's going to be different next year for us. But I think it's more about dates more so than the opponent. Because if you have your homecoming when you normally have it, and if there's a conference game that falls on that date, then that's who you're going to play. Like, we've been on Southern's homecoming twice, I think, Carlos, if I'm not mistaken, over the last, 5 or 6 years? I think we've been Southern's homecoming opponent twice in the last 5 years, I believe. Is that because that's what they want? I know our fans not happy about it, but that's the conference schedule. And so you can complain and gripe about the master schedule, but it's made 10 years in advance. So unless you have those conversations on the front end, but if you move one game around, it's going to impact. And I remember many, many years ago, Texas Southern and Prairie View, they normally played the Labor Day Classic. One year they didn't. And that one change affected, this is what I was told by someone in the SWAC office at the time, it impacted like 30 other games because of that one change.
I think we lost it, man.
Huh? Hello?
Go ahead, Charles.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, you know, you can change it around, but that's got to be done on the front end. I mean, master schedule for us is made for the next 5 years. You know when you're going to play these SWAC teams. And so I guess it's up to the institution to determine when their homecoming is going to be. I think Jackson's homecoming is obviously today, but, you know, it could be at another time, early October, could be early November. So.
Well, Charles, you see a question, will Alcorn finally play FAMU?
Yes, the answer to that question is yes. In Tallahassee.
About time.
Yes.
About time, huh?
I think it's been 40 years since we've been. I looked at the last time we played FAMU was in Tallahassee. I think it was in the 80s. I want to say 81, 82, somewhere in there. It's been 40 years since we've been to Tallahassee. So I'm looking forward to that game and going down there and playing in Bragg. I am gonna say this: we're playing 4 teams from the next year. One of those games ain't gonna count. We're playing Alabama A&M, FAMU, Valley, and Jackson. We're going to Huntsville, Coach Pettaway. We'll be back in Huntsville. One of those games not gonna count, and I don't know which one it is. I haven't gotten that deep into it, but I've seen the schedule, and so I can just say when our homecoming's gonna be. And I think it's important to put it out there too, because I think our fans need to know when homecoming is gonna be as far in advance as possible, because we know hotel rooms get jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
I paid $300 a night last year on Pine Bluff's homecoming at a half-a-star rated hotel. not a 1-star, a half-a-star, and I paid $300. And I had to do it to avoid doing all this traveling and moving around. I did what I had to do, but I think fans deserve to know when their homecoming is. And I know that's probably you won't know that till the spring, but as early as you can nail that down, I think you need to get it to your fans so they can start booking hotels, booking flights. It's never too early to do that. And I think it gives your fans a little level of comfort financially. That's just my opinion.
All games matter, as I see. No matter when you play it, if you play FAMU for homecoming, if you play Alabama A&M for homecoming.
Right.
All games matter.
Overblown.
By the way, I got to get my shirt.
But in a perfect world, you want a cupcake. In a perfect world, you want a cupcake. You want to be able to go to the little after parties, that sort of thing. people pat you on the back and good win, A.D. Brown, good win, Coach so-and-so, that sort of thing, as opposed to having to almost fight people at the end of the day because you lost a homecoming game. You ain't going nowhere as an AD. Where you gonna go? Except for to the house and have a stiff drink. And hope there's still some barbecue left. Floating around somewhere, and call it a day. But it can get dicey for you. I can tell you that.
Yes, absolutely.
Coach Norman and Wheeler, I could tell if I was qualified to be an AD, I wouldn't last long. I wouldn't last long because guess what? Cupcakes are good, but then I got to fight people about non-conference games in football. Well, we shouldn't play this team. Do we play a cupcake for non-conference? Do we stack our record non-conference so our record will look good? Because guess what? Conference play is the most important thing. But again, all games matter.
Yeah.
And I'm not just going to load my non-conference games with cupcakes. We're going to have a tough one to help prepare us for conference play.
Well, Carlos, you would love our opening game next year. You know who we're opening up with? Northwestern State in Natchitoches.
They're not that good anymore, Charles.
Well, I'm just saying we talk about FCS playing FCS opponents. No, they're not. But
why not? Why not at home?
We already had a home game with them. We're actually returning a game to them.
Okay.
We played them at home a couple of years ago. So these contracts, they kind of stagger out. So they came to us maybe 3 years ago, and so now we're returning the game to Natchitoches next year.
Who's negotiating these contracts?
This was done probably 4 years ago. So it's been 2 or 3 ADs ago, unfortunately, a couple of presidents ago. So it's that's way in the rearview mirror. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Go ahead, Coach Norman.
Okay, I think Charles just answered. I was going to say about the non-conference. Now, how does that work? Is that like you just said? Is that already negotiated between the previous AD, or is that a president? Or, for example, can I, as a coach, walk in and say, "Hey, I'd like to play this team for homecoming"? Obviously, you just said no, so we can't move it around. But non-conference, you usually get 3 non-conference games. Can I say, "Hey, Mr. AD, Mr. Charles, I'd like to play these 3 next year"? What's my answer?
I can answer that.
He's an AD.
I can answer that for you.
Look at his eyes lighting up.
Like, play who I put on the schedule.
He rolls up in his seat, Carlos. He was leaning back, killing. He got close to the camera.
See, I aligned myself more with Coach Pettaway on these non-conference games.
Yep.
The coach should have something to say.
Hey,
I think so. But
did y'all see them dollar signs pop up in Will's eyes when he said that?
Yeah.
When he came forward, you see number dollar sign.
To make a long story short, Coach, hell to the no.
Willa would fire me in less than a year.
we had those conversations though, Coach, and I will be explaining to you that we got some budgetary matters that have to be looked at, and we want a healthy mix. Carlos Brown, we want a healthy mix of challenges as well as facing against some opponents that we should rightfully be in the game with and possibly win, that sort of thing. So it'd be kind of a mixture of the two, but while a coach may want to come in and maybe play 2 cupcakes, I may settle on one. So we'll kind of meet each other halfway and a little meeting of the minds there and try to do ultimately what's right for all of the programs, with the understanding that football is the flagship, it's the bellwether cow, the cash money cow, whatever it is, for the other 14, 15 sports. And, so there's some sacrifices that go along with, the challenges that go with that, but you will understand that prior to you getting that head coaching job, because that's something that definitely will be brought up in the interview process, and it's something that, from a head coaching point of view, you want to know prior to you accepting that particular job. You want to know what the possibilities of success are going to be, that sort of thing. You want to have some say-so, in terms of the scheduling, and you want to know what the AD's philosophy is as it pertains to all those things prior to you signing on that dotted line. So that's something that, as you're moving forward professionally, you will put that in file 13 or file 8 somewhere, so that you can bring that up, as you approach the interview process, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but Will, wouldn't you say that that's more prevalent on the football side? Because I think on the basketball side, the AD may give, Coach Norman, the AD may give you a dollar figure, say, I need you to bring this in. Then you as the coach, Coach Norman, you go out and build your basketball schedule. But in the back of your mind, that as you build that schedule, you got to be getting these games in that's going to bring you that dollar figure that they've already given you. And I think on the football side, they just take more control of that schedule because I think they're in a better situation when it comes to football.
And we take more control from a football point of view also, Coach Pettaway, because there are fewer opportunities out there, to make that money. Where in basketball there's a lot more opportunities out there, to get to that figure. And football, there's not a whole lot of schools out there that's going to pay you the kind of money that you're looking to, looking to bring home, that sort of thing. So, and a lot of times when you're talking about $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 contractual deals, that's pretty much going to be an AD to AD type thing, or an AD-led discussion, as opposed to me calling up the coach from UAB and making a deal for $70,000 or something to that effect.
Oh well, Coach Norman.
Yes, sir.
You have now been indoctrinated with
all games matter.
All games matter. but it may be an asterisk by that, because now that leads me into what's trending number 2. Basketball season is right around the corner. Get out. Some teams have had exhibitions at home. our fans should get acquainted with those players in those exhibition games, because for the most of us, you won't see them again to December or January.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're out there doing a great deed. And you know what that is, Coach Norman?
What's that, sir?
They're helping a guy on this panel like A.D. Willer Brown bring in a lot of money. And guess who suffers somewhat? The fans. But at the end of the day, as Charles Edmond says, they're going to be played about. They're going to be judged. They're going to be judged on what they do in conference season. Now, I will say this. A.D. Willer Brown has said many times he would take that in account when it's time to evaluate.
Oh, no doubt.
That basketball program, because they did a great deed, a honorable deed.
No doubt. No doubt.
Go out and
all
get
dollars matter, Carlos. All dollars matter.
Wait a minute, what was that? All what?
All dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. But let's put it in parentheses, blood money, because that's what it is. And so I got to wait till conference season to get a good look at my team. And then if they get off to a bad start, Coach Pettaway, I can't say, well, look at that non-conference schedule they had. And by the way, Charles, I was disappointed in that exhibition game. You knew I was going to bring that up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You lost to Talladega. So my first question was, how good was Talladega? And I think the panel said pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? That does not make me feel any better.
No.
You don't lose those type of games.
No.
But am I wrong? Coach Pettaway, help me out. Help me out here.
You are not wrong. But I will say this though: when it comes to playing these type of schools, when you're playing 5-on-5 and you're looking at the level of talent, like there's a kid on Talladega's team that was on our team, a kid named Sean Walker, and he's about 6'8", about 270. I just don't think he fit into Landon Bussey's system. He wants a more athletic, wiry, rangy type of big. Sean Walker is a space eater type of big, and that's I don't think that's what we were necessarily looking for at the time. But look, we had a 9-point lead with 5 minutes left in the game. We didn't shoot the ball well. We didn't shoot free throws well, and yet we had a 9-point lead despite all that. And you got to give Talladega a little bit of credit for just staying the course, because if we score another bucket in that last 5 minutes, we go up 11, we probably win the game. But we did not finish the game well. We missed 3 free throws down the stretch, a crazy inbounds play in which they fouled us after tying it up because they thought they were down 1 in the last 15 seconds. So we just didn't do a good job in closing out the game. And I get it. Alcorn fans are ticked. SWAC fans are ticked. Like, there's no way in heck that you should lose a game like that. And I get it. I understand it. And Landon Bussey understands it.
But knowledgeable people know you can't sell those kind of schools short. Their talent is pretty much on par with your talent. Mm-hmm. You know, and they may not go 12, 13, 14 deep, but their top 8 is probably on par with your 8. They're recruiting the same kids that you're recruiting. And in a lot of instances, they're able to get kids in that you're not able to get in.
Right.
You know, so I mean, you know, you flipping a coin, you're taking a risk by playing them. You know, a lot of times you don't have a choice because there's nothing else out there to play. You know, so your hands are tied, maybe tied a little bit or what have you. You know, and yeah, Carlos, you expect to beat those schools. There's no doubt about that. But you're more knowledgeable people, you know, your coaches, that sort of thing. I'm not saying that you're not knowledgeable, Carlos.
Oh,
but,
okay. Yeah, that's right.
Your coaches and your people who've been around that particular circle, they know what they're getting into. They know that they're recruiting. We're both recruiting the same kinds of kids, you know, and they're not blinded by the light of them being NAIA Division II and you're NCAA Division I. that don't even cross your mind.
Right. Yeah. Talladega has a very good team. If you all remember a couple of Saturdays ago, when we were on the show, I was doing the game from the event center, and we were playing Talladega, but it was a scrimmage. It wasn't a regular season game. It was a scrimmage. And Charles, we never led that game by double digits. We never led. We led it from start to finish, but never by double digits. They have a very good ball club. And then, Carlos, you will love this. Alabama A&M had men's basketball. They have 8 home games in the non-conference schedule. 8 home games in the event center.
Now, I know Connell Maynard's on the hot seat now.
And we got a good one. On November the 7th, our men will play one of their small schools. Oakwood comes in. They play at 5:30. And then at 7:30, our women will play the University of Alabama, the 24th ranked team in the nation.
Oh,
women.
yeah.
They're coming to the event center.
Yeah.
It does my heart good on that, so I'll have to take out that rant I did. No, it still implies, though, but the exception will be Alabama A&M. 8 home games?
Yes. Yep.
Well, you know what? I'm pulling for Alabama A&M after Southern in the conference of basketball. Yeah. I like that.
Well, Carlos, let me add an addendum to the Talladega thing. That game was also a friendship game. The head coach of Talladega actually coached Landon Bussey when he was at Xavier. So there's relationships there. And so that's part of the reason why Talladega is getting a couple of dollars for coming to Alcorn. And they took pictures. They ate after the game. They were fed 2 or 3 times, and they won the game. So that was all on social media. So that was a relationship game. And look, Coach Pettaway, Landon Bussey, I know you love him. Landon Bussey said it after the game. He makes no apologies about playing tough games. He's not going to schedule the College of Biblical Studies. He's not going to do that. It's not going to happen. Okay. So if you're going to play a NAIA program, you want to play a good one. And Talladega won 23 games last year. They're no slouch. I'm going to say something else too. Next Saturday, next week is Xavier's homecoming. Alcorn is playing an exhibition game at Xavier next Saturday. Now, they don't have football, so you know that place should be rocking next week. To have Alcorn, a D1 team, come to that arena. They got a beautiful arena. You see the pictures of it. That place might be so packed it's not even funny. But Landon Bussey doesn't believe in cupcakes. Now, he took that loss hard. He was sitting at the score table after the game with the coaches like, what in the heck just happened here? We got 13 new players.
You got beat.
We got 13 new players, but he's not making excuses. So he's trying to get it figured out, and he will get it figured out. And just, for those who might not know Landon Bussey's resume, since he's been at Alcorn, he's won 2 regular season titles, 2 NIT appearances. We've hung a couple of banners up. But the one thing that he hasn't done is what, Coach Pettaway? What's the one thing that Landon Bussey and our team hasn't done since he's been there? Win the SWAC
tournament. Yeah.
Well, and that's all he talks about. And he told me last week, I'm just ready to get to the tournament. But you got to qualify for it first. Now, next year at this time, all teams will be in. But you got to qualify for it. 10 of the 12 teams will be in it. This coming season. That bothers him every single day. He just wants to get to the tournament, but it's a long way between now and March. Got a lot of games, got the grind of the SWAC. We got to go to Southern. We got to go to Grambling this year in conference play. We open up with 3 in a row at home, and you got 13 new faces. So there's a little bit of uncertainty, maybe for the first time since he's been at Alcorn, to have a fairly new team that he's got to try to mold in his image. So, that was a tough loss, and no doubt about it. Our fans are getting ragged. Our fans are not happy. I get it, and I think Coach Bussey gets it. But at the same time, he realizes that, hey, if we're going to tear it down, let's tear it down now. Let's be humbled now. Let's get exposed now, and then let me build this thing back up bit by bit as we kind of get through non-conference.
Well,
another nugget for you, Carlos, the athletic director at Talladega. Former Jaguar. Former Jaguar.
Oh, well, that's why they won. Yeah.
Yep.
And guess what, Coach Norman? That team, although it's an exhibition game, they were hungry.
Yeah.
They wanted to show the world that we could play.
Yeah.
And boy, if they happen to be in the conference, in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, let me ask you this, panel, since you've really said there's such a great program, and I don't doubt what you're saying, could they be competitive to middle of the pack in the conference if they were in the conference?
Yes.
Wow.
They have the facility down there at Talladega. But believe it or not, now they're on the radar they're struggling this year financially. So that might be another reason why they're taking some of these games too now, because they're struggling financially. They're one of the schools that's been on the radar for them trying to close. Their enrollment has dropped and all of this. Michael Grant, who used to be your basketball coach, he is the athletic director at Talladega.
Oh, yeah. I remember him, and I tell you what, I was behind him tremendously, not living in the past, as I've been accused of many times. But Charles, you'll appreciate this. He kind of said something in the press. It was an opening, I think, a college in Ohio, and he said, "Boy, I would love to have that job." There was a board member who got a hold of that. Charles, you get one guess.
The kiss of death.
One guess, and he literally paved the roads to get Coach Grant out of there. That's a true story. And you know this board member who's now back on the board, and me and him have a all in water relationship. You know who that is now, Charles, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Get your popcorn ready, folks, on that one. If you ever have this board member on this show, I will get me a box of popcorn, put my feet on the desk, and chill and check it out. And my drink of choice, because it is going to be a show to see.
Coach, real quickly, since we're talking about basketball, real quickly, I want to give a shout out to Langston University, my alma mater. My boys are ranked #1. I do believe this will probably be our year. We got close last year. We got a really good coach. I think he came from that school, Talladega. I think they lost in that championship by 2 points. But he's a really good coach. I know our athletic director, Denise. I know her personally. She speaks very highly of him. And he's doing a great job for us. He had a real good recruiting season. So I was excited to see our boys ranked #1. And according to Coach, he thinks we're going to go ahead and bring it home this year. Shout out to that orange and blue LU.
Yep.
Langston.
Yep.
Very, very good. One more thing, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll turn into our Spanning the SWAC segment. From the outside looking in, Charles, although Coach Bussey hasn't got that one title that he wants, I'm curious to see what the panel says. Willa, you'll be last on this one because you're administrative. Based on what I believe the panel has exhibited over these last couple of years, why not, like Ashley Robinson did for Coach Bussey? I believe he should get an extension because most of the panel have told me in this forum that second place is not bad at all. So based on that, why not? I don't know the contract situation, but I think you, Willa, you offer Coach Bussey an extension and lock him in.
Definitely.
He's done a good job.
No, I'll go first on that one. No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. He's in the hunt every year, and, he's in the discussion, and that's what you want. From an athletic director's point of view, that's what you want. You want to be in the discussion. And Alcorn is in the discussion, men's basketball-wise, since Bussey's been there. Granted, he hadn't gotten over the hump yet, but, for me, that's great. That's a great place to be,
Right.
And woe is the AD that thinks something different, to where you act off the cuff, get rid of a guy, bring in another guy, and then you're not in the discussion for another 5 or 6 years.
Right.
I was sweet.
Carlos, Carlos, I would agree with Wheeler. I would extend Coach Bussey because you talking about 2 regular SWAC championships. That's the course of a season. Yeah, he's not won the tournament. That means he's had some bad luck for 3 days in those 3 days. But for the long haul, he's shown you that for 2 years, he's the best. He's the cream of the crop. So yes, I think he has deserved it. And he has earned an extension. And I think if you look at the total package, him as a person, the way his teams compete, that man deserves an extension.
And I would add something. Go ahead, Charles.
Oh, yeah. Well, this, if I'm not mistaken, this may be his 5th year. So he's already completed. The most you can get offered is a 4-year deal. That's IHL board policy. No,
he's got it.
He's got that. So he's in his 2nd contract. So his maybe in the 2nd year of his 2nd contract. So on this discussion, you can extend him 2 more years to max it out at 4, and that goes for Alcorn, Jackson State. I think that's what Ashley Robinson did with TC Taylor as well as Mo Williams. This is his 3rd year, so they just probably maxed it out to refresh it for a 4-year deal. So I agree, because every year when you see some of these HBCU openings, Landon Bussey's name is brought up.
He's applied.
His name has come up prominently for a lot of these jobs in conference. You hear his name brought up. So I think he knows that he's being looked at, and we know that he's being looked at. So it's just a matter of what can we do to keep him. We have a new athletic director who's very impressed with him, Dwayne Robinson. I think if we're back up there again, especially if we complete the journey and win the SWAC tournament, there's no doubt that he'll be refreshed and get another 4-year, another deal. Now, I think based on the contract, if you win the regular season, I think you do get a year extension tacked on. I think that's built in to our contract, the way we do things. So if he wins the regular season, I think he'll get a 1-year extension. And I think that's probably, what we can do, because financially, 4 years is the most, but then you try to lock people in, a little bit. Our financial situation is okay, but it's not the worst. It's not the greatest. So we're doing like Nate Kilbert, for example. Nate Kilbert going to the SWAC championship last year, his contract was up this past March. He got extended, I think, a year or 2. He didn't get a 4-year extension, which I think a lot of people, including me, would like to see. But I think because the previous 3 weren't all that great, yes, you had that run this past season, but I think a year or 2 extension, let's just see where he goes from there. We've got a really good team where we can finish in the top 3 or 4 in the league if everything works out right. So I just think it's one of those delicate, tricky situations, at least for our case. But I can see what Ashley Robinson's trying to do and try to extend those 2 coaches at least, and just to make sure that they're comfortable, for the next 4 years, because the most you can get is 4.
And while I agree with the decision on TC, and I thought that was well deserved, for Mo, this might have been a prove it to me year. As I look at his body of work, now I can pretty much see, why Ashley did what he felt like he needed to do. I'm not, against that per se, but just for me, I would need to see more body of work wise. I haven't heard Jackson State men's basketball in the discussion since Mo has been there. I've seen a lot of hoop-de-doo and a lot of confetti and all that sort of thing and stuff, Carlos. I just haven't seen nuts and bolts wise, W&L wise, discussion of championship wise. I haven't heard men's basketball from Jackson State mentioned in the discussion since Mo has been there. And so for me, he got to show me that we're going to be able to turn that corner with him at the helm. That's just me.
Oh, no, I understand, because I look at, I guess we had on Coach Funches when they defeated Jackson State in that, well, put it this way, when he won the SWAC tournament, he got a nice gift and bonus. He really did, Coach Pettaway, and deservingly so. So I think it's a balance of how you got to do this thing. And, you know, we're a director of athletics. It's not an easy job.
No.
A basketball coach, a football coach, it's not an easy job. So with that being said, we'll take a timeout. We got through that. Hopefully before the show is over with, we'll get the panel's opinion on the SWAC 2025 baseball tournament on the move. And that story broke on the ONG Strike Zone with Brian Fulford and them. We'll get into that. But next, when we come back from this timeout, we'll switch back to football. Last week's games, this week's games, and predictions coming up. You're watching the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
Hey, grab me one too.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Choice Hotels is a family of brands that helps you get the most for your money so you can be any traveler you want to be.
You could be a free hot breakfast hero at a comfort hotel.
Yes!
That's how you waffle!
Mister, this script got a plot twist at a Radisson Hotel.
A business big leaguer.
Go for key.
Even the ultimate pool float inflator.
With 22 brands and the best value for your money, Choice Hotels has a stay for any you. Book direct at choicehotels.com, where travels come true.
Gotta get the corners.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. I just simply call this segment Spanning the SWAC. Some news and notes. The Alcorn State Braves and Alabama State Hornets will meet At the Port City Classic today, 4 p.m., ESPN Plus, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. All the other games are, as we now in November, those afternoon games, because I guess, too, it's tradition. The temperatures should be dropping, although not in Baton Rouge.
No.
Still 9 degrees in November. Jackson State Tigers snapped a FAMU Rattler 17-game conference winning streak on October the 19th. Week 10 of the season features a total of 6 conference games and no non-conference games. Of course, Southern travels to Alabama A&M for a 2 p.m. game that will be broadcast live on HBCU Go. Last week, FAMU successfully defended its FCS second longest winning streak against Southern, winning 24-6, making it 22 wins in a row now at Bragg. 2024 SWAC Football Championship is set for Saturday, December the 7th. And last, the Week 10 SWAC Digital Network schedule features Grambling State at Bethune-Cookman, 2 p.m., and Prairie View A&M at Mississippi Valley State at 2 p.m. Panel, last week, any kind of games got your attention? Willa, we know you had a previous week of great predictions. How did you fare last week?
I came in at 500 last week.
Oh, no, not 500.
I came in at 500 last week. I think Grambling let me down. Somebody else let me – Southern let me down. And I think Grambling let me down. But, you know, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. And, you know, hopefully the ship will get back up right.
Yeah, and for me, the Jackson State, I'm sorry, I had FAMU winning the game against Southern last week. I guess what the game that threw me for a loop was Grambling. Yeah, I didn't expect Grambling to lose to Texas Southern.
Well,
so they're in dire straits down there.
Well, I can't remember who else on the panel, but I did predict Texas Southern to beat Grambling State because I just went back a couple of weeks ago, TSU and Southern University, a shank punt, and that game could be different. Southern wins in overtime, but it was Jackson State over Bethune-Cookman, 37-17. And I think on the panel, some said that, Jackson State maybe looking ahead. Bethune-Cookman hung in for a while, Wheeler.
First half.
Yeah, they did. They did.
First half.
And then the better team won, but 37-17. Go ahead, Charles.
I said in the preview, I said Jackson State should win this game, but don't play around with it. And it was that way in the first half. And Jackson's just a better team. There's no doubt about it. They've got some offense. They've got a quarterback that get it done. But that first half was kind of dicey. It's not easy playing down there either. And so it was their homecoming. So they were fired up. But I think once Jackson hit them in the mouth a couple of times in the second half, warmed down, that was it. And so I give them credit, but Jackson was the better team, and they did what they had to do.
Elsewhere last week, Alabama A&M in the Magic City Classic. They lost 27-19. Grambling State lost to Texas Southern 24-17. Prairie View A&M, a homecoming win over Texas A&M Commerce 34-27, and Arkansas Pine Bluff 35, Mississippi Valley State 21. But one thing that you can look at, the top two out of three teams have been getting solid quarterback play. And that, to me, that goes back to our point earlier. The teams that are doing well in the quarterback play, managing the game, not hurting them. You don't have to be a superstar. Two of the three teams are doing it with consistent quarterback play. No, Texas Southern over Grambling State 24-17. Kind of talking about last week.
Your audio, Carlos. Your audio's kind of going in and out.
Okay, let's see. Let's try this again.
You good?
Must be squirrels running around outside. 24-17. Texas Southern over Grambling State. But a couple of side notes to that. Mickey Joseph is kind of taking over. Well, I won't say taking over, but being more involved in the play calling. And then also, he was fined this past week on a teleconference for criticizing the officials. You can't do that. You can't do that. You may some things you can say privately about the officiating, but that's a big no-no, Coach Pettaway. Coach Pettaway, have you ever been fined for going after the officials?
No. My pockets have never been that deep where I just like make money so I control my mouth in those situations. No. It's been close, but no. I know better. You can't do that. You can't do that. And believe it or not, I was not able to watch it live. And then when I went back to listen to it, evidently the conference edited it out because it cut off. The recording cut off before he went on his rant.
Charles, I believe if I was a coach, I probably would have a couple of fines, big ones, because my mouth sometimes gets me in trouble, even at the house, with the budget director. So, it's unfortunate. Yeah, I know he's frustrated. They've lost some close games. They literally out of the Western Division race, but you gotta have that professionalism, Will and Coach Norman.
It ain't worth losing. It ain't worth losing no dollars over, Carlos.
Nope.
At the end of the day, how you gonna go home and tell a wife she can't get this, that, and the other because you got to pay a SWAC fine?
Well, he's got two problems then.
You got that right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering, guys.
You think the 2-year contract problem is a problem? That 6-month contract becomes an even bigger problem at home.
Well, here's Wheeler. Here's my question about that. So Mickey Joseph said, "Hey, I can pay the fine. I got money to pay the fine."
Yeah.
But the question is, did he? If he told Dr. Scott, look, and he apologized for what he said.
Mm-hmm.
If he said, Coach, Dr. Scott, I'll pay the fine. I mean, I can pay it and avoid the university from having to pay that fine. Well, as an administrator, would you allow him to do that, or would the university just have to bite that bullet?
I would allow him to do that, but at the same time, I would let him know, that the conduct is unacceptable. I can take this sleight of hand, for this one time, but moving forward, we can't have this, period. You got to control yourself, that sort of thing. Even though you have the dollars necessary to pay the fine, that's okay. Because chances are I was going to take it out of your pay anyway. But at the same,
would you have done that for real?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh,
definitely.
It's the principle. It's the principle of it.
Definitely, no doubt about it. We can't have the university being looked upon in a negative light, because the coach can't, keep his thoughts to himself or what have you. So I give you that one slip, and that's okay. You're going to pay the fine. There ain't no doubt about that part, but you're going to need to know that moving forward, you got to get a handle on this. This can't become a regular habit.
Yeah. I agree. Hold on real quick. I agree with what you're saying, Mr. Brown. Really, I do. But I understand this. As head coaches, football, basketball, badminton, our job is to protect our team. And sometimes we get done wrong by refs. And I do believe that if you let a ref, let's say you referee one of my games, you call a bad call, and I don't say nothing, you're automatically probably going to say, okay, I can do this because I'm not getting no withdrawal back from Coach Norman because I'm too scared of what's going to happen with my AD and my university. But we as coaches, hold on, we want the university to know that we're going to fight for our team and our university. Now, true enough, we have to be professional and we should know when to watch our mouth. But I can understand his frustration because that game, I mean, they referees did those several bad calls, and it's like, wow, ref. And even AD Drew says there's just certain things that a referee's not supposed to do. So I understand what you're saying. We're going to have that conversation. But I'm saying as a head coach, we have to defend our team. And if we don't defend our team, our players are going to look at us like, wow, coach, you just going to let us get rolled over like that? The assistant coach will be like, Coach, you're going to get us let it roll over like that? So I understand the whole situation. Me, myself, I don't say nothing to a referee unless it's just flagrant. But I understand Mickey Joseph's situation.
What I'm saying is, I am there to defend you. Okay? So if anybody is going to get the charge, I'm going to get the charge. Okay? My coach is not going to get the charge. You know, so, I'm the one that's going to be bringing it up, to the commissioner or to the head of officials, that sort of thing. So if it's a fine that's going to be incurred, I'm going to take that weight. Okay, that's me. Okay, I don't want my coaches involved to that point. Okay, because I know these officials talk, they converse amongst each other, that sort of thing. And, they got buddies that will probably be officiating your game somewhere down the line. And believe you me, that word is going to get around and something's going to happen during one of your other games, okay, that's going to take the place of that criticism that you put out there. Whereas if they're just coming at me, I can handle that. I'm a big boy. I can handle that. I ain't got no problem with that. So that's what I would want you to know up front. Okay, I understand your frustration, that sort of thing. If somebody's going to get a fine, let me get that fine. Let me take that weight. And believe you me, I will let it be known in no uncertain terms, that what happened during that game at that particular time was unacceptable, that sort of thing, moving forward. And then I'll move it to the highest levels that I can move it to, which will probably be a little bit higher than the level that you can take it to.
Yes, sir.
Right. And see, the conference already they have a grievance thing that you can do when it comes to the officials. Like in basketball, I would, immediately after the game, I would call a coordinator, send them the footage of what I'm talking about so that they can see it for themselves. And then during the game, coach, to show my team that I'm for them, that's when I get a check. Now, in basketball, I'm going to take that check now because I got to let my kids know that I'm but now I'm not going to take it. If I'm not going to take 2 texts where I'm ejected now, but I'll take that 1 text so that I can prove to my kids that, hey, fellas, we're in this together. I got you. Let's go out. Let's go out and get it done. So that check part is what I do to show the team. But in that press conference after the game, I'm not going to get in my pocket. They're not going to get in my pocket. I'm going to say just enough where they understand what I'm talking about, but not enough to get the fine. And then I'm going to let the coordinator of officials have it and the commissioner. I'm going to show them stuff through the tapes. I mean, with the DVDs and that kind of thing. Let them know what I'm talking about. So there's a process for
it. Hey, Coach Norman, I got a story for you. Coach Thomas talked about this on the show the other night. He said one of the games this year was talking to the officials about a crazy call. The officials couldn't really explain it. Coach Thomas is looking for the explanation. The officials couldn't explain it. So at the end of the day, the officials went to Coach Thomas and said, hey, Coach, that's why you make the big bucks. That's why you make the big money for you to decipher that. Now, as a coach, how would you take that? How would you take that if an official say, hey, Coach, that's why they pay you the big bucks, for you to figure out something like that?
Security would have to come out there after that.
That's exactly correct.
Hey, calm down, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I would have got ejected. Yeah,
I would have been mad too. I told Coach, and I laughed because he shared it on the show. I laughed like, Coach, that is just that's not good for a referee tell you, official to tell you that's the wrong answer. That ain't it right there. Missed me with that one. But but no, he shared that the other night, and obviously Coach said you can't do that, and like Wheeler Brown said, just you can't do that. But as a coach in the heat of the moment, man, that when a referee tells you that, I think that's just the wrong answer to me.
Yeah, the human spirit will come up out of me on that one. We've got about 6 minutes left. We got to break a little early on this week. Of course, we appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll be back to our normal time, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we got 6 minutes. So got to be quick. Schedule for today: Southern University, Alabama A&M, UAPB at Jackson State, 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. Grambling State at Bethune-Cookman, ESPN Plus, 2 p.m. Prairie View at Valley, 2 p.m. Texas Southern at FAMU. Happy homecoming, FAMU alum, at 3 p.m. East. What's that? Central Standard Time. So I guess it's 4 Eastern. And then Alcorn State and Alabama State, 4 p.m. ESPN Plus. You know, this is November. Most of the games now are in the afternoon, the late game, Alcorn and Alabama State. Quickly, Southern University and Alabama A&M. Panel prediction. Willer, you'll start off.
Coach Graves, my boy. I got to go with him. You know, even though, you know, I have an affinity for Cornell. But I'm hoping Coach Graves takes care of things. And so I'm going to go with Southern today. By 3.
And I like Coach Graves too, but I got to go with my alma mater since it's here. I don't want to get run out of Huntsville, so I'm going with A&M.
Oh, not you, Coach Pettaway. Charles?
I got Southern University winning this game. Even though I'm pulling for A&M to help us out, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Southern's defense is too good. I got Southern.
Coach Norman.
Even though I think Xavier Langford will have a good game because he's that type of guy, I got Southern winning it 24-21.
Oh, and last week, Kelby Givens, boy, FAMU, I saw that. They chipped him. They had tied it on the side and a running back to negate his pressure. Good job, FAMU. I think Southern University, which team shows up offensively, first downs, they got to be successful, Willer. It's got to be 3 to 4 yards on first down to get a second and short, third and short. Pay attention to that down and just and can we get some balance on first down? Can we have a little bit of passing? Just a little bit. That's all I'm asking. This is a big game. I like Southern on the road. They have had success in Huntsville and against Alabama A&M. I like Southern University in this game. Jackson State and UAPB. Who do you like?
Jackson State.
Jackson State.
Jackson State. No doubt.
Jackson State, number 1 team in the conference, in my humble opinion. Grambling State and Bethune-Cookman. I'll start this off quickly. Boy, Grambling needs a win. Mickey Joseph is involved in play calling. What's going on? Crowley, everyone wanted to crown him early on. Comeback player, great player. Bethune-Cookman showed me something last week against Jackson State. Can they put together 2 halves? I'm going with the upset. I said I would not pull for Bethune-Cookman. I'll predict them to win the rest of the season. I can change my mind. Bethune-Cookman in a close victory. Panel?
G-Man.
I got Grambling it's going to be a close one, but I got Grambling.
I got Grambling.
Charles. So it's 2 Bethune-Cookmans and the rest Grambling State. PV at Mississippi Valley State. The last time they went to Valley with a championship Western Division title on the line, they didn't get it done. I'm not pulling against Prairie View this time. Although they're coming off a homecoming high, they'll win a game, but it'll be closer than some people think. I got Prairie View A&M.
I got Prairie View.
Prairie View, no doubt.
And Charles, no buts. No buts.
I'm going with Valley. I'm taking Mississippi Valley in this one.
Charles, if Valley wins, you host next week. You host next week.
Okay. I'll start preparing as soon as the show's over with.
Texas Southern at FAMU. Wow. Homecoming after Southern comes the week before. It could be a slight letdown, but the key word I say slight. FAMU rolls in this ball game.
FAMU all the way.
FAMU.
Damn.
All right, and the last one, Alabama State and Alcorn State, a nasty defense. Number 1 in the conference, Xavier Vaughn, you and Noah Bolton have a simple assignment this week. Make the throw. Make the throw. I like Alabama State in this game because of that nasty defense. Alabama State. Panel, quickly.
Alabama State. Bama State.
Alcorn.
Charles?
Bring your lunch pail. Go Braves.
Go Braves. On that note, we want to thank Brian Fulford. Cedric Walker will address that question about Jackson State's basketball and their recruitment. A great recruiting class, but guess what? You got to do it on the court. You got to do it on the court.
Got to play the game. Got to play the game.
Everybody enjoy your weekend. Remember, this Tuesday, vote.
Go vote.
Peace and God bless.
Mm-hmm.